forget it every time. This time I'm not.
All right. We're going live now. It's working.
All right.
I guess it's a few minutes before 8, but...
Well, it says 8 o'clock on mine.
Oh, it is?
So is that thing cockeyed?
Yeah.
We need to...
Let me scoot this stuff back.
One on board already, huh?
I think it's you, Dad.
Oh, that's me? Yeah. Okay, so this... Oh, yeah, we got one on. Here you go, son.
There. Is that...
All right.
I guess we should bring it in a little bit.
Can you bring a chair in, Andy?
What do you mean in? Like that?
I don't know. Is that going to work?
Can everybody hear us?
Oh, how many we got on? 10?
We got 6.
6?
Yep.
Who's showing up?
Urban Homesteaders, Ashley Strand, Emily Calhoun, Vicky Savage, Jesus. Oh, Ashley has service. She said, I've got service, y'all.
Oh my, she's standing by the window. Doesn't she have to be like at a certain spot?
No, I think they're visiting family right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, they hopped in pretty quick.
Wow, we must be the only game in town. Can y'all hear us okay?
Hey guys. Oh, they're at her dad's.
Oh, okay, cool. Ashley and James, always a joy. Y'all know who this guy is. This is Justin at Metcalf Mills. We'll get more to him. We'll let more jump in here after a while. If you haven't checked him out, you want to check out his channel. He's one of a very small handful of people in this world that does what he does, and it is extraordinary. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of good stuff, but it's been a while since we did one of these live streams.
Yeah.
Last time we did it, he was here then, wasn't he?
I showed up.
Yeah, I think I showed up just in time.
Yeah, he showed up. Well, we just ate. What did we eat? Because I'm having like a brain. Yeah.
Soup and bread.
Yeah, soup
The
and
bread came from...
Yeah, the bread came from some awesome. And what y'all hear in the background, that's my dog Milk Boy. He's out there fighting off all the coyotes way we're in the distance, and he's. So if you hear what you hear right now, that's his roar going through this.
His roar.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
roared it.
He's the greatest Pyrenees for anybody that wants to know. So,
all right. So I guess
who
we can
else is
start
in
off
here?
by...
Well, who else is in here?
Well, I mean, there's 19 people.
Hey y'all,
I
if you
can't
would-
see them unless they're commenting, but...
Oh, hey y'all, hit the thumbs up when you come in, would you? We're told that somehow sets up the algorithm to let more people know that we're doing it. So if you would, please hit the thumbs up. We'll probably remind you a couple of times through. You had an announcement, son?
Oh, yeah, just our shout out to our top Patreon members, our pimp patrons. Tracy Rader and Glenn Sargent. And then also, if everybody could keep Kevin Frazier in their prayers. He just got out of surgery. He's back home now, so that's good. He's on the recovery side, and hopefully by the end of January or February, we can go get his food forest squared away.
Now that's a guy that really ought to have a YouTube channel.
Yes. Him and his wife,
yeah, man.
Zuzi, cracks me up.
Very, very entertaining guy and sharp. Wonderful, wonderful person. Has written some really awesome stuff to me through Patreon, and you know, can't thank him enough for all the support and everything else. So it's been a real joy to get to know a lot of you out there. And also I want to give a shout out to my friends, Don and Jeff over in Tennessee. Sent bread through the mail that we just got finished eating the rest of.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.
Yeah, that bread's off the hook.
Yeah, it was excellent. Some of this old sourdough and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So what are you up to, brother?
Yeah, getting back into it. I've kind of had some family stuff go on, as y'all well know, and lost both my parents this year, and I took a break from YouTube for about the last month, and just now getting fired back up and getting some new videos out, and excited about everything that's going on, and very thankful for y'all through all this.
Well, we're thankful for you too, brother.
Yeah, tell everybody out there right now, I've said it before, but I know some people's out there that hadn't heard it. You don't have the best neighbors in the world, because I do.
Well, that's awesome.
That's the truth.
Well, we live up on Chestnut Mountain. Nobody said anything about Brokeback Mountain.
That's right. You know, Billy is the best thing since Ben Carson right here.
Gotta love that give and take, y'all.
Hey, Virginia.
Oh,
Virginia
Virginia.
here?
Yeah,
There
she
she
just said
is.
that.
Hey, girl.
Oh, Kathy Dick. Please tell Jim Dick. He was the guy that gave us the hookup on the Duluth trading pants. Tell him thank you so much for telling me about those pants. These are the best pants ever.
Yeah, I'm wearing them fire hose pants right now. See
Yeah.
that?
Same here.
Yeah. So, yeah, now that I took before I was wearing them 511 pants, and I swore I'd never wear anything else until I put these on. And only thing I'd redesign is maybe put the pockets, the cargo pockets, a little bit further on the side. But outside of that, I got no complaints. These things I feel like Captain Caveman with all the pockets in this thing.
Yeah, there's pockets in pockets. There's pockets inside my pants.
Yeah.
Like you have to take off your pants or unbutton and unzip to get to the pockets.
Yeah, you literally do. So man, these pants, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Now
Yeah.
y'all making me feel bad. I ain't got a pair on here.
That's all right, brother. Yeah, we'll
I'm gonna have to try me some of them out.
Oh, and those fleece lined ones, you have to be careful with those because you'll start sweating if it's not cold enough outside.
yeah, I got two
Yeah.
pair of them. I hadn't even put them on yet. I mean, it's been freezing, but I can't even get out of these right here. What do we got going online, son?
Looks like there's a conversation going on between Ashley and Virginia. Moose says hi.
Oh, Moose the dog. Yeah, Moose came here a little while back. We did a little just to kind of give y'all an update. Last weekend, we did a. You can watch that video at Renewed Homestead. Another good friends of ours. We processed 3 sheep out there, and Ashley, James, and the modern yeoman Sean and his wife were out there, Holly, and Jason from Sow the Land. So we were all out there working on these, getting all that stuff kind of done. And then before then, that weekend before, I was working on some pigs, and then a deer, and then now it looks like them 2 guinea hogs up the hill. Looks like it won't be too long before we put them in the fridge. So it's been real busy doing a whole lot of stuff as of late.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Oh, Renewed Homestead, they have a more in-depth, if you guys saw our video, they have a more in-depth version. If you guys want to check it out. I think it comes in 2 parts, but they kind of reflect their whole, first time doing it and all that stuff.
Right. So yeah, we kind of walked them through. So
Oh.
something just jumped up on that screen.
And Modern Yeoman. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Modern Yeoman. Hey, there's Glenn. We just gave you a shout out right before.
That's right, Glenn.
you
Don't.
popped up.
Hey, we gave you a shout out, buddy.
Yeah.
Me and Glenn go all the way back to high school, many moons ago.
Yeah.
What do you got on there?
Oh, there's Vicky Savage is asking for a link to the pants. Andrea Lynn's Arkansas Garden said there's severe thunderstorms in north central Arkansas. Oh man. Christine Beadle. Hello guys from South Louisiana. They're glad to see you, Justin.
I'm glad you see me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. His daughter. One of his daughters. She's inside playing with Michelle, and it's just always a joy whenever they come over.
Always.
Yeah, it's the only time I ever get to drink a soda, man. So you got to come over more often.
Well, I'm here. We'll do it.
So what have you been up to? I mean, for those of you that don't know, why don't you tell people what you do? I mean, he does a lot of stuff, y'all. Go check out his site or his page. You'll see that as of late, he's been working on some brickwork, and then he's got this cool thing called Fun Fact Friday. But Justin, why don't you tell them what you got coming up? I mean, do you have any? Maybe, I don't know, maybe introduce to the people out there who you are, because I'm sure there's a fair number that don't know.
Yeah. My channel's Metcalf Meals, but since I started it a few months back, I've done very little traditional meal writing, which is what I do. Grain meals, dressing millstones. I build some new milling equipment, just all kind of repairs, restoration stuff, things like that. Mostly what I've had on my channel so far this year has been my farming stuff, and a few odds and ends, like Billy was saying. I've got Fun Fact Friday. I always try to have something interesting there that I can share, and I've got a lot of getting this winter. There'll be a lot more of the grain mill work and stuff like that since farming's not in full swing. And two, now I was really tied up with my parents a lot of this year, and my crops did really well, but I couldn't manage them as good as I needed to towards the end of the year because I had to be at the house. My dad was really sick, and I just couldn't do it all, and that's just life. But farming, you've always got next year. But this winter, I've got a lot of meal projects coming up, and I'm going to share as much of that with y'all as I can, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, you can check out my channel. Maybe it appeals, maybe it don't, but I hope you'll check it out and, see if you're interested in any of it. But I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of interesting things with you.
Paul DeJean was actually just asking about that mill
Yeah.
that we tore down
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, he was just asking about that.
Yeah. The one we went and got over in Tennessee?
That was let me just jump in there a second, folks. We were there, and he took us along, me and William and the Modern Yeoman. Check out his channel as well. We went over there, folks, and I didn't fully understand the full extent of his expertise. These mills, I guess I'm demonstrating my own ignorance, but I did not know. He went in there and he's telling, we're getting like a download of the year this happened, who owned this company then, and all this other stuff that he just knew off the top of his head. And it was really, really something because you could see his passion for this work. And folks, I can't wait till you get this stuff off and running when you start grinding and doing all this other stuff, because I mean, really, it was a joy just to be in the presence of greatness, working on these mills or seeing how he did all this stuff. So
something I want to say is most likely I may not even be on YouTube except for these folks right here. So I owe y'all a lot. You've been a huge encouragement to me, and any problems I had, you was all over it, and y'all have really encouraged me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you.
Well, it goes double for us too, because y'all, a good golfer could probably hit a ball from here to your house.
Yeah.
And so he literally lives that close. I mean, it's just right up over, bam, hit a golf ball, you're right there. And the mutual assistance that we've developed for one another, we need help. He's there. We know some other folks would be here as well. It's just pretty convenient when we're this close to one another.
Right.
So it's been a joy to kind of cross-pollinate and realize there's a whole world out there of all the things that he does that I've never done before. Whether it's mill work, whether it's doing the sorghum, how you do the corn, all the processing, all these things that unfold. And he's doing it in the most traditional way that I didn't even know existed until I met this good man. But it's been a real joy to get to know him and his girls. And folks, you really ought to check him out too.
Ashley wants to know, how did you get into mill work?
I grew up hearing my dad tell stories about going to the mill on Saturdays with my grandpa when he was growing up, when my dad was growing up. And just the way he conveyed that to me, he'd say, yeah, we'd go and they'd pick up all the bags of corn going up the road where the mill was, and they'd take them up there and grind them. And Dad said he'd stick his hand under that spout, and that warm, fresh cornmeal would come out in his hand, and he would just sit there and eat it. And just the love he had and the feelings he had for that, it just kind of got in me. And my grandpa gave me that little grist mill when I was 14, and it needed a lot of work. I completely restocked it. I had the lumber sawed to restock it, and when I was 15, I put it back together and got the thing grinding corn and making cornmeal, and I've loved it ever since, and it's been off and on since then, but the last 2 or 3 years, it's been pretty much full on. So.
Wow, I can't wait to see when this thing's off and running.
Actually 5 years, it's been pretty full on over the last 5 years.
Cool. What do you got there, son?
James was asking, do you do electric water mills or air compressor water mills, or have you, I'm guessing like hydropower and then
I've done
compressed air?
Yeah, I've done some water wheels, but none have been hooked up to electricity so far. But I think that would be there's been several people interested in that, but I think it'd be something fairly simple to do. I mean, you've got a power source with a turning shaft, so
You know how to build the
Not really.
hard part.
yeah, the hardest part's really, I guess, done.
The
But
mill. Yeah. The water wheel, I mean.
yeah, that part.
Yeah. They're saying you're falling asleep over here, dude.
Ooh.
Growing little country.
No, growing little country homestead? No, I'm not falling asleep at all. It has been a long day though. I mean, we went down there, we got up early, and today's weather was just fantastic. I mean, like 60 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
Even now, I could really come out of this jacket. But when we get weather like this, man, everybody kind of goes overboard where we sit here. I mean, it's been nonstop all day long. But I also want to say too that it's not work that I do grudgingly. I mean, every single day, and I've said it before a number of times, that when I get up in the morning, first thing I think about is I can't wait to get out of bed and do this. When I go to bed at night, I'm thinking about what I want to do the first thing tomorrow, and I try to map out the day. And today's one of those days when you get 60-degree weather this time of year in December. Good night. We went down to the barn. We're doing all the preparations we got to do to get to the point where we're going to rob the lumber off this. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Okay, there's a whole lot that happened today, y'all. We had to get the pigs out permanently, the baby pigs. So we got them out, and it's always a harrowing experience the first time you get them out of the barn, because you're hoping, especially in an environment like this where it's such steep terrain, you're hoping and praying that they don't get caught up in that net at night and then they get Kentucky fried by the morning. So we had to get that done. Had to get the bull out. Then we had to go ahead and rearrange the entire permaculture barn in such a way to make a whole new stall for the bull, because we're going to tear down half the barn, so we got it to build the earth ship. Now we're going to take that stuff, bring it down the hill, which we've already been doing. We've been taking the stuff that we've been reclaiming out of there, taking it down the hill for the high tunnel that we need the material for. So all that to get to the point where we can finally get to where we can do this earth ship. So all that to say that no, I'm not falling asleep, y'all. This is a good kind of tired. I mean, it's been a while since we've been able to work exclusively. We've had so many obligations in so many ways. We've been helping a lot of different folks, and we love doing that too. It's just when we had a chance to go full steam ahead, we put foot to butt and got a lot of stuff done today. So that's where we are right now, and all of it, in a nutshell, is to basically demo the barn, to use the material into the high tunnel, and then turn back around and start building the earth ship. So that's what we're getting geared up for.
So we have to tear stuff down to build another thing, to build another thing. So we know what's going on. You guys might not.
Yeah.
We understand what's going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a little. I guess I'm not really all that tuckered out. It's just when when Justin comes around and this little girl's here, I was like half tired. Everybody was half tired. When little Charlotte comes around, everybody just kind of gets perked up because she's a little kid and she does not care if you're tired. So you better be ready to play. And she's like running up, "Hey, Uncle Billy, I love you." And I'm like, "What are you going to do there?" You know, she made her and Virginia made this card for me for my birthday a while back. And she snatched it up off the refrigerator. It's like, "Hey, this is me and you, because I love you, Uncle Billy."
And a big love heart.
Yeah. She says, "Here's me, here's you, and here's a big love heart." And I noticed between the two characters, little stick figures on there, I was the small one.
Yeah.
So no, that's a good tired, y'all.
Oh, Ashley, yes, I did make some wooden spoons, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Casey Lynch wants to know, when did you know you wanted to get into this lifestyle? Was there something that happened that lit the fire?
Okay, let's start with that.
Well,
Yeah,
Justin, you've been living this lifestyle.
Yeah, so does he count? I mean, well, you could have gone a number of different directions, but you didn't. What made you were you aware of another lifestyle? Because this is kind of your life and always has been, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just lived up in this holler. My family's been almost 200 years. I guess I just thought everybody else was like us.
You get a hard lesson every time you go to Asheville.
Yeah,
then.
that's right. That's right.
Well, for me, it was You know, I wish I had this download years ago, y'all. I mean, honestly, boy, I mean, I would have avoided so many things. But honestly, it's all those little things that I learned along the way. You know, whether butchery, whether it's electric work, whether it's, you know, whatever it was. I mean, even jumping out of planes and doing all that kind of stuff. It was all those things that honestly came to bear into the lifestyle we have now. And as far as how I got into this, I think I was kind of playing around with it. And then in '08, this will make sense because in '08, when things started to get real stupid, where it was touch and go as to whether or not I didn't work that whole year, y'all. And the best job I could find was in a third world country. But I didn't get into it for that. It just solidified it for me. It really did. So in '08, that's when I said, okay, that's when we're really going to start getting serious. And then for me, I don't know how to do anything halfway. Many of us here don't. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn all of it. Everything and then the more I'd learn, the more interesting I'd find something. And I'm a voracious reader, or at least I used to be until this year. I mean, I would read anything you put in my hands and couldn't get enough of this stuff, whether it was Joel Salatin, Mark Shepard, you name it. I mean, Fukuoka, it didn't matter. So between the reading and the doing and everything else, I was like, man, there is no other way to live. I don't. And then honestly, I just thought about this earlier today. I'll try not to belabor the point, but honestly, I got to thinking, with the meat we eat, most of which you can't buy in the store. You can't buy the sheep in the store. You can't buy the pigs we have in the store.
You definitely can't buy the sheep.
Yeah, you can't buy
You
the
can't
cows.
even buy a hair sheep.
The
Right.
only thing you're going to get in the store is disappointment.
And pay more for it.
That's exactly. High price disappointment.
That's right. Well, yeah, but if I want to eat this food, there ain't one of us sitting here that can afford to pay for it. Not if you had to pay full dollar for it. I can go to the highfalutin butcher shop in any town, and I guarantee you they don't have lamb as good as the quality that Ben and Denise at Renewed Homestead, we just, processed this weekend. The pigs, you ain't gonna find that. So honestly, if I want to eat this food that is better than anything I could even think about buying, I got to know how to raise it. And if I raise it the conventional way, still might be struggling trying to pay for it. So if I want to eat this stuff, if I want to eat the best food on planet Earth, I got to grow it. And better still, I got to grow it in such a way to where the price tag ain't that much. For example, we raise our pigs for, and I said back in the video, I said 31 cents a pound. The truth is, it's more like 21 cents a pound. And all that cost is the initial cost. We don't put nothing else into them. We raise our pigs for free. We raise our chickens for free. Raise our eggs for free. Omnivores, I mean, we raise all them for free, obviously. And our herbivores, we raise them for free. So we eat the best food on planet Earth, but it requires something of us. But anyway, I didn't mean to go so long. But that's what mostly got me into it. Also, the preparedness world. So
if you like food and you like good food,
really good food,
this just seems the right way to live. Everybody has to eat.
Right, but you
Might
just
as
as
eat
well.
good food.
Right, but then that brings me also to butchery too. You drop you take a pig into a butcher. A mile out, if you're able to look at the behavior of that pig before you get it in there, they smell death before they even get to the processing house. But when you do it on a farmstead, I don't care what the animal is, you're going to notice a big difference. You don't ever want your animals to suffer, but they know what's happening at that processing plant before they get there. But when we dispatch them, they don't have a world's clue that that's about to happen. So it does make a difference in the meat. It makes a difference in the quality. And like I said before, the hardest things in this world to find is an honest mechanic and an honest butcher. So if you want to find an honest butcher, the best place to look is yourself. So that's why we're teaching that as of late.
Ashley was wanting to know, where do y'all buy seeds, or do you only grow seeds with the ones you've saved previously?
Let's defer to Justin.
Yeah.
Well, everything I grow is heirloom, so I save seeds out of pretty much everything I grow, and I'm hopefully going to have some seeds to offer. So if you don't know me and you want some seeds, maybe you can get to know me. I should have some available here before long.
And these Cushaw squash seeds, Cushaw squash
my goodness,
are off the hook.
Michelle
And
made
they're
a pie.
massive.
Tell them what she made out of it.
Man.
She made his favorite.
Yeah, we got this thing around here. If you hadn't heard yet, I guess it's derived from a dessert called creme brulee.
Yeah, it was called
Creme brulee. It was.
Around here, It's creme brulee.
Yeah.
Because these are my bros right here. So it's creme brulee. The OHH in here, she makes it. And she changed the recipe up even more and used some of the Cushaw squash that we grew this year and made a squash brulee, I call it. A squash brulee.
Brulee.
And it was just, yeah, it's the best.
Say that 10 times.
Is it not the best?
I thought so, but remember she made that first batch and it was a little jiggly. She didn't like it. And then, you know what? Excuse me. If you want to get Michelle motivated on something, have animals involved, or let it be something she's cooking and it didn't quite turn out the way she wanted. Well, believe me, I mean, she could tell you how the pyramids were built if you could put it in any of those terms. I mean, whether it's animals or food. Well, anyway, she got that. She put her foot in it, y'all. She got that creme brulee. Hold on. What do you even call that stuff at this point? This Cushaw creme brulee. She made it out of Cushaw squash.
Yeah.
And it was, what'd she do it for Thanksgiving?
I guess we ought to just call it a coup brulee, I guess.
Coup brulee.
Coup brulee.
Hey, there's a lot of people wanting to get to know you now, Justin.
Coup brulee.
Good.
A lot of people
Yeah, they
want
want them. They want them.
they want these seeds.
Y'all wouldn't believe the size of them Cushaw squash, but I was thinking, as big as them suckers are, there ain't no way they could taste good. You know.
You're right.
You just think that when you see
Right.
something that big, because how many times? I mean, except you prove me wrong every time I turn around. Them big old watermelons. What was that? The snake bite, or what do you call it?
Georgia rattlesnake.
Close, I guess. Snake bite, boy. We gonna call it something. Snake bite. But I thought that sucker, because it was so big, it wouldn't have no flavor. But that wasn't true.
No, that
And
one of them things was over 40 pounds, and it was sweet as could be.
man, that last one you brought, man. And then we dehydrated, man. That was, we made some jerky out of that stuff.
Oh man.
And we brought it up to the guy down at the feed store. What did he say, Jake? We dropped off that watermelon, that dehydrated
That
watermelon.
was fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that means. I guess that means it's
That
good.
was fire. Hey, Virginia, it's bussin'.
I have no
Okay.
idea. I have no idea what they're even talking about. Bussin', fired. Look, I mean, I know all you kids. Man, I know all the inside lingo, man. Like G Willikers and Hey Buddy Boy and all that good stuff. Yeah,
Dude,
so I know it all.
you're
They just
about
won't admit it.
25 years too old. Sorry, dude.
What do you got there?
All right.
Hey, hit that like button as you're coming in, y'all.
Rip DeNicola says, hello from Mississippi. Just butchered my first hog from the Homestead last weekend and watched our videos for reference. So
Awesome,
that's pretty cool.
awesome. Thanks
Do you
a
have
lot.
any critiques? Like, were there any parts that were left out or you wanted further explanation on?
Well, that butchery, the pig butchery video was from a while back, and we were still catching our sea legs on this one.
Over
on
a year
YouTube.
ago.
Yeah, so we'll have to do a more updated version of it. But when it comes to that part of it, I can't even tell y'all, folks. I think I said it in a video a while back. I was having a bad time. It was a Sunday. I was going after some pig food and whatnot. And can't remember how it went down, but some folks that were at the Sow the Land festival, or not Sow the Land, the Back to the Land festival, sorry. They sent me pictures of them. Now, I just taught them a very rudimentary butchery class. And it was the coolest thing in the world for her to send me a picture of her husband
Oh,
doing classes, teaching her neighbors. Man, I went from being absolutely aggravated from dealing with a bunch of hoople heads in the city to just being, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. How cool is that?
Wow.
This is exactly what I was hoping would happen, where I was hoping I could train up a bunch of people, and those people train up a bunch of people to get to the point where, okay, so all the processing plants are down. Big deal. I know Justin down the way. Guess what? We'll just, that's kind of what I'm hoping would happen. I want to, just like all the products we sell, whether it's the bone sauce or the Comfrey, as stupid as some people may think we are, the idea is that we want to make ourselves obsolete to where I no longer have to teach a butchery class. How cool would that be? Because everybody already knows how to do it. When you buy bone sauce, you don't need it for 30 years. When you buy our Comfrey, you should be able to propagate it forever and a day. So when you buy things from us, whether it's a class or whatever, the idea is to get to the point where we're no longer needed. you know. And I know that sounds like a stupid business idea, but I think that we can maintain ourselves. I see business being a byproduct of just good, honest dealing, and it's really cool to see it unfold like that.
Ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Where'd it go? Growing Little Country was asking how much is the kelp we feed our pigs, but we feed that to everything, even the dogs. Like how much is the bag of kelp? I think it's like $50.
I want to say $50 for what, a 50-pound bag?
Yeah, and
Somewhere
it lasts for a
thereabout.
long time.
It does.
Because I mean, the dogs just get like an eighth of a teaspoon once a day, maybe.
Right. And for those that don't know, we give everything kelp. That's where there's a whole lot of minerals down in kelp, but we're finding out also, like with these pigs out here, all that charcoal that comes up out of the fireplace, you've probably seen that video. They won't even touch the kelp as long as they're eating charcoal from the fireplace. And I remember didn't you send me a text the other day about how your folks used to do? Was it you telling me about that? About your dad or grandpa saying that they used to feed charcoal?
Yeah, yeah. Dad used to talk about they'd give hogs just coal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, coal, yeah. And he said they'd
Oh, it
crunch
wasn't
that
charcoal,
stuff.
it was
No,
just
it was
coal.
coal. Yeah, when a lot of people heated with coal, there's
Oh,
coal
man.
laying around here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said they'd give. I think he said something about it would. They didn't worry about worms or something.
I was gonna say, I
Imagine
bet.
not.
Yeah, they probably didn't worry about intestines either. Probably dragging all of it out. Oh my goodness!
Coal.
Man,
Regular
so they'd
coal,
eat coal too.
Yeah, he
But I
said
guess-
they'd crunch that stuff like
Like they do this
just like
charcoal.
they did on your video.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're finding out even the kelp isn't. They won't even touch the kelp when they have access to charcoal, y'all. So and they will eat. I've witnessed it with those 6 pigs right there. They will eat a 5-gallon bucket of charcoal in a day, if they're a quart low. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they'll do all that for you. So, keep
All
that
right.
charcoal.
Vicky Savage, I'll send you those pear varieties. Urban Homesteaders said, here's a definition for you. Fire is fantastic, and bussin' is dang good. So,
Justin, is there any
you
way you
guys
could?
know.
Justin, you think about how to put that in all in the sentence?
You'll have to give me some time on that.
Fire and bussin'.
This creme brulee isn't fire, it's bussin'. No cat. For Virginia.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Kenneth Sword. Sword. When I was a school staffer, I noticed how bad kids were being fed, participation trophies, dumbing down of knowledge, what parents prioritize in their lives, more government. That was a nice comment in there.
Well, no, I couldn't agree more. I'm probably going to lose some folks on this one. Let me just kind of hit it. And
Well, before you get into that, Rip Denicola said over the shoulder view for the processing might be helpful.
okay, yeah, maybe one of them chest cams too. That might help.
Yeah.
Before you say that and lose some people, go ahead and subscribe to Metcalf Meals. Before you see how long you can hang with me, because I'm going to be with him.
He's like, hold on, what's that count at, y'all? Yeah, hit that thumbs up on the way in too, y'all. No, when it comes to like this, the Charlotte Iserby, real weird spelling. She wrote a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, and she chronicles chapter and verse. Even hooked up with the late great Anthony Sutton. Check out his work as well, talking about how there's been an intentional, deliberate dumbing down of America. I won't go too far into it, but check out also the work of John Taylor Gatto. If you get a chance, folks, every one of you out there, check out the Ultimate History Lesson with John Taylor Gatto. Now, you're going to want to speed it up a little bit if you do find it on YouTube, because he had already had a stroke. But even then, the information that he drops in there regarding the school systems and how those things unfold is pretty astonishing. And basically, this guy basically proved that the classic way in which people teach in the regular public schools is probably not the best way to learn. And in fact, I'm standing next to a fellow autodidact. Justin, how did you deal with the school system, and where do you think your education, your best education, came from?
Aside from the fundamental things I learned that I needed to know, everything that I've learned that I love, I just learned it by doing it. I mean, just doing it. I mean, there was almost nobody to teach me anything about grain mills and whatnot. All that old knowledge, it's like 200 or 300 years. Some of the things I do, there's nowhere to learn it. There's very few, just a handful of millwrights in the United States, and I've yet to meet one of them. And it's just, I mean, it's just what I do is mostly just self-taught and wanting to know and just going after it.
And he didn't learn it in the school. That's that's what he's an autodidact. He's self-taught, you know, and as I am, and William also.
One fella in one of my videos, I go to and spend a pretty good bit of time with him. He taught me about dressing millstones somewhat. So that's really the only person I had to learn anything from. And that was only just the general how of dressing millstones.
So you had to pretty much learn by doing, and in some ways, as I've witnessed, inventing some of the technology
Yeah,
or
do.
rediscovering some of the technology.
Rediscover it, yeah, that's right.
But
You
that
do.
was in no schoolhouse and it wasn't in a book.
No.
Right. So, you know, I'm the world's biggest critic when it comes to, and I came through the public school system, even through college and all that stuff. And I have very, very strong feelings about how those things unfold these days. Go ahead, son. I didn't mean to.
Cindy Dame said Two Old Crows did a great job videoing you butchering at the festival. She said she learned a lot. Two Old Crows Homestead, that's definitely a channel to check out.
Yeah, they're wonderful too, man. They saved my bacon out there. Randy and that, what's that stuff he put in that crock pot? That
Candied pork belly, but yeah, we're behind on these
Okay,
comments.
go ahead.
Ashley Strand wants a quick explanation of hoople heads.
Yeah, I used to watch that show Deadwood from way back, and it was basically a mining town. You had a bunch of outlaws out there, and they referred to all the miners as hoople heads. In fact, one of the funniest things I remember in the one of the episodes is, Justin, you get a kick out of this. He was one of them bar owners, and he was tired of dealing with all these drunk miners that would walk in there. And he's looking at the other bar owner. He says, "You know what, man? Pretty much had enough of this. Some days I just wish I could just beat them over the head, steal their money, and dump the bodies in the creek." And he says, and the other bar owner's like thinking, "Man, that's not a bad idea." So, yeah, but he called them hoople heads. So yeah, we seem to have no shortage of hoople heads these days. All right, son.
Yeah, there's Casey Lynch. You talk about Comfrey a lot. Please elaborate on its uses. Everything. We feed it to all the animals. Actually, Nala was out there eating Comfrey earlier. She just saw a leaf and
It's a dog.
chomped on it. Yeah, Nala's a dog. Maybe. It might be a dog.
Well, I mean, cover that real quick because there's a reason why we go nuts on that Comfrey. And in fact, Justin, when he texts me every day, how do you say it? What's
How's everything going down on Comfrey Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got we got Comfrey coming out of our ears, and we still can't get enough. The pigs eat it, sheep eat it, cow eats it. We put it in. I mean, it's a great compost starter. It's a dynamic accumulator. It's good for you. People make Comfrey teas out of it. You know, even stuff people consume themselves. I mean, there is no shortage of what this stuff does. I mean, we use it in our. Actually, I use it. I layer it whenever I go ahead and mulch the trees. I always put the Comfrey down first, and then I cover it up with the mulch and everything. So, all the Comfrey we got coming out of our ears, all the times we propagated, and it is not even close to enough. In fact, Michelle's taken some and she's dried it and done something like a tree hay with it, which maybe we'll reveal in the future. We've actually taken it and made little bales out of it, of dried Comfrey. So we'll see how that goes throughout the winter.
Comfrey helps with, in the South, some people call it knit bone because it's high in calcium and helps you heal bones quickly. Cuts helps heal those really quickly. I've healed quite a few cuts on myself with Comfrey. So, that's good.
Pain management too. We got Comfrey salve and stuff in there.
Inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, folks, we're not, I'm not trying to sell you anything we don't currently use. Every video you see us out in the field, I guarantee there's Comfrey in it somewhere.
And if you look up Comfrey, there's going to be some varieties that spread and that just take over. This isn't the variety. This is Bocking number 4, so it's a clumping variety. It's a Russian Bocking number 4, which is a clumping variety of Comfrey, and it won't spread unless you propagate it and intentionally spread it. Oh man. Donna, Divine Prepping, you said you sent a question earlier. I'm sorry I missed it. If you want to resend that, that would be awesome. Growing Little Country wants to know what brand of kelp we're using. Thorvin kelp. He said he's paying $130 for it.
Oh, snap. Well, we get it from these folks down the way. I think they get it from the co-op somewhere. But it's another farm. We just support them because they have it. But like I said, bro, if you, with those pigs of yours, Growing Little Country Homestead, really good. Oh, man, Justin, you'd really dig a lot of the stuff he does.
Oh yeah, I watch.
Oh,
I
man.
watch thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. That stuff he does there with the wood and the gates, and I thought, man, that is just fantastic stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, I'd love to have
Donna,
him come
Divine Prepping, asked, William, have you always loved farming, or did Billy just push you? No. They didn't really push me into doing really any of this.
Well, going back to that school thing, y'all, he had a full academic scholarship. And, of course, he got there just to realize that he didn't want to go to school with a bunch of hoople heads. And so, no, at the
Once they had me take a class to teach me how to use the school, but I had already been going there for a couple of weeks, that's when I realized this was just ridiculous.
Well, going back to that, that's where instead of him going to college, we said, okay, well, where do your interests lie? And so instead of sending him off to college, we tried to enable him to do the things that, like with Justin here, he's following his passion. So what was his passion? Okay, so he goes to Australia. He comes back here with a whole bunch of awesome knowledge from probably the best permaculture designer in the world, Jeff Lawton. Go out to the Earthship Academy, learns how to build earthships. Spend a little time with Jeff Lawton, Greg Judy, and that's what we always do. We keep a little money always in the coffers for education. All of us are doing it in some way or another, and trying to get boots on the ground kind of experience, because there's certain things you cannot convey in a book or in a video, and they got to be done. I can't teach you up close and personal how to do specific cuts on any kind of butchery unless I'm watching you. There's certain things you can't convey unless you're in the room with them. Would you say that's the same thing with, could you show somebody how to do a millstone through a video and be confident at it?
They could get the gist of it, but there's so many details down to even how you let the hammer fall, and it's just.
How many times do you hit the same spot? Wasn't it like 28 times per inch or something?
That bush hammer that's it's 25 points, but like with the mill pick where you're making one crack at a time, yeah, it's maybe 20 in an inch, 25. But some of the people back in the olden days, some of those stone dressers so good they could put 50 cracks in an inch.
Wow.
So that's like 3 cracks every 16th of an inch.
Carving these spoons, I can't hit the same spot twice.
For flour, for milling flour.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but those are the things.
There's so many details like that. Yeah, you couldn't get.
Right, but those are things that's why I think apprenticeship is the best modality for learning in many ways, because honestly, if you have a journeyman that's showing you, hey, you do it this way, that way, this way. There's certain mistakes that you don't have to make, and that's the benefit. It's like Leonardo da Vinci once wrote in one of his, he said, it's a poor sort of pupil that does not surpass his master. And I really believe that. So in many ways, in every way, he should surpass whatever knowledge I gave him. So let's say my knowledge is here or wherever it may be. He should advance it where he found it. That only makes good sense, and he's doing that very thing.
He's standing on your shoulders.
That's right.
Thanks.
That's right. Actually, yeah, he literally is, because he's like a foot taller than me.
Came from Mom's side with all those corn-fed hillbillies over there. Kathy Dick was wanting to know when can we expect our Comfrey roots to produce. Probably early or mid spring is whenever those root cuttings should come up. Those root cuttings take a while for them to finally pop up, but once they do, you're not gonna get rid of them. They're just gonna
Well, you can, but
how?
well, you're gonna have to dig it all up, and even then, you got to make sure you get everything.
Yeah, every single piece.
Yeah, I had somebody else say there was somebody sent a message the other day saying, "Hey, my Comfrey ain't popping up." Well, you got to give it some time, especially if you put it in this. If you can work the ground, you can put it in, but it's not going to pop up in the dead of winter.
And don't plant Comfrey in Miracle Grow. It does not do well.
No.
Comfrey is what a lot of people would call a weed. So it needs soil to fix. If the soil is already perfect, then it serves no purpose. Same
Right.
thing with weeds. If you have good soil, the weeds serve no purpose. So they're not going to grow. So the same thing with your Comfrey. Put it in some rocky, crappy, sandy soil and just let
Or
it go.
clay. I mean,
Or clay,
we've
yeah.
done it in all those places, over the years.
We
And
had
look at
Play-Doh in Texas.
well, yeah. You can look at like Stefan Subkowiak. His soil became so good as that, if I remember correctly, his soil became so good that he ended up pulling the Comfrey up out of there because the Comfrey was like, okay, I'm supposed to be a dynamic accumulator, but this ain't working for me because the soil's doing really, really well. So in a lot of places in his orchards, he had to pull it up.
James said, "Pee or get off the pot, Ashley." There are other people that need to go to the bathroom, can't watch live streams while in the bathroom.
It's some other folks.
Yeah, there's a book smarts. And this is from Ken the Sword. There's book smarts, and then there's work smarts. Learning needs to be hands-on, butt off the chair. But to recite something doesn't need to get it done.
Well, that's true because check this out. There was a doctor that I know very well who tried to tell me that the very opposite is the true, that that you can learn everything you need to know from a book. I'm like, well, wouldn't apprenticeship be better? Wouldn't working with somebody? Oh, no, you got to learn. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there was this doctor. Yeah, just because you got more degrees than a thermometer doesn't mean you got common sense.
I don't imagine there's any doctors in our live stream.
Well, no, I mean
don't
maybe
imagine
there
so.
are, but I'm not coming down on all doctors. I'm just saying that just because a person has a PhD behind their name or doctor in front of it doesn't give them a greater share of common sense than anybody else out here. In fact, in many ways, I've seen more arrogance. I won't go into it.
Matt Brown wants to know if we scrape or skin our hogs and why.
Oh yeah, so there's a contentious point. I was talking to Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. You want to check her podcast out. And we were talking that very thing as far as scraping or scalding. Look, I know as of late everybody's into the scalding thing, and that's fine if that's the way you want to go. But it doesn't, from a butcher standpoint, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you're going to make country hams out of it. And I'll tell you why. When in your life have you ever eaten a pork chop with the skin still on it? You ever eat bacon with the skin on it? How about pulled pork with the skin on it? 80 to 9 or 100% of that pig, 9 times out of 10, you're always going to take the skin off. Ham hocks, there's a lot of times you don't have to. I prefer to skin those hogs 100% of the time because I don't have time to go through all that. Plus, I really don't like the idea of the guts being in that animal for such a long time while we're going through the process of scraping and only getting hotter. You kill a deer, what's the first thing you do? You cool that meat off as quickly as possible. Now, I don't know why that same principle doesn't apply for the same people that butcher hogs.
Yeah.
Because, when you kill a deer, any kind of wild game, the first thing you do is you want to cool that meat off. So if you want to scald and scrape, you knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, you're going to take the skin off anyway. So why not just do it on the front end? There have been people saying, well, they might get some contamination. That is absurd. That is absolutely absurd.
Wait, did you say contamination?
If you don't, if you take the skin off, that there might be some contamination, and there is
You had
no
some problems to begin with.
you probably shouldn't have raised that pig on concrete if that's what you're worried about. But that's patently absurd. It really is. At the end of the day, I'm a big believer in skinning because I just don't have the time to scald. And 9 times out of 10, the people that want to leave the skin on, they're not even doing anything with the skin. I don't even understand it.
I don't know why you do that.
I know.
Unless you're salt curing it.
Exactly. If
That's
you're going
all
to make
it
a
is.
country ham out of it, I can get it. But if you're not, if you're going to make it all cuts and you're going to can it or put it in the fridge, I never understood why anybody would go through the process. And Nicole, from where she was, she does butchery classes as well at Living Free in Tennessee. And she was telling me, if I remember correctly, she was like, yeah, I'll just go ahead. When I do a class, it's like, okay, we'll go ahead and scald this one and then we'll skin this one. And when the process is all said and done, you tell me which one you like better. And she's like, just about every single time, it's going to be those people that, that do this.
Glenn
the
said,
skinning.
"Don't diss that U.S. grant education."
Yeah, don't diss that. Yeah, that was a high school I went to back in the day. And Glenn was there as well. Yeah, learned an awful lot about nothing. And it was funny because a lot of the teachers that I looked up to when I was in school, I'll be honest with you folks, when I got to see them later on, years later in social media, and I'm looking at, like, these are teachers I once looked up to, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I looked up to this nincompoop before. I mean, honestly, they were as crazy as a three-headed cat. And I'm sitting here thinking, what? I actually looked up. I was a kid. I didn't know any better. But yeah, these are the people teaching kids these days.
He also had a question saying, "Have we seen any chronic wasting disease in North Carolina deer?" I haven't heard of any, but have you? Jason?
I have not this year. No.
No.
How would you even know 9 times out of 10? I know you got to take the head in back in Kansas when we lived there. But then again, you got GMO bean fields and cornfields everywhere where we lived in Kansas. Deer hunting there was no challenge at all. You could do it right from your front porch with a bow. And I mean, they were just so thick. But now, even then, I think they wanted you to take the head in to have it examined for chronic wasting. I don't know. Maybe they were giving those. Well, I was going to say something.
Wait till near the end. Hold on. Let's promote some things before before we get kicked off.
I was going to say, dude, they're probably going to kick me off. I mean, like, maybe they tested the current thing on the deer first because.
Well, Steve Hall said he's never seen or personally heard of chronic wasting in deer. He says it's probably propaganda.
He may be right.
He might be
He
right.
might be right.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've heard of is that black tongue, and that was down towards the coastal NC. Yeah, I had chronic waste in my. Yeah, I was thinking about the black tongue, but yeah.
That's funny. Now that he said that, I don't know that. I mean, it's like.
It came out right before. Well, we'll hold off on that.
Well, I've never seen Bigfoot. You know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've only heard of people that say they saw Bigfoot. I've only ever heard of people. I have nobody that I know personally that has ever had any experience with this chronic waste.
Glenn said he's seen it.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it's not as bad as everybody's like letting on. Because I don't know. Oh, Kathy Dick asked, "Were you a paratrooper?" She said, "My dad was a Green Berets 20th Special Forces. Thought I heard him mention jumping out of planes earlier."
Yeah, I did a lot of that sort of thing back in the day. But it's kind of cool that I can take a lot of that sapper knowledge and use it on a farm like we did the other day when the kids, sadly, Justin and them were laid up for Thanksgiving. Boy, that was a bad deal. We'll have to tell them about that. Yeah, they were laid up for Thanksgiving. So I'm able to use a lot of those military, a lot of those cool things I learned in the Army. It's pretty cool to be able to use a lot of that stuff right here on the homestead.
Hey, to your point, well, probably shouldn't say this comment out loud just yet, but everybody look at Glenn's latest comment, and it says basically to your point, Dad.
So
right
I can't
here.
see that.
You definitely identified.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, how about that?
And one right there.
Wait a touche, Glenn. Oh.
Was that before or after?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's look, there's a whole lot of nonsense going on in this world, y'all. A lot of us can't tell down or up anymore. You know, common sense ain't that common no more. I mean, well, Justin, what have you observed over? We'll just kind of hit it in another tact here. What have you observed over the last couple of years? I mean, I know we're relatively isolated back up in here, and I usually lament every time I go to town. But have you seen a massive departure in the behavior of people over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's definitely changed, and I've thought a lot about that. I don't know how much, because they went through a long period of time of not being around anybody else. And I don't know how all that affected people. And then you got this new stuff, and you hear about things happening every day that's just strange. It's just strange.
What about you, son?
I was reading comments, Dad. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I get it. I mean, look, that's one cool thing about doing this. I don't know how long they'll ever allow us to be on social media with some of the things we talk about, and we don't toe the party line per se. And I'm getting to the point where I'm going to stop talking about some of those controversial things, not because I'm afraid of being unplatformed or whatever they call it.
Deplatformed.
Yeah, that too. It's not out of any concern for that. It's going back to what my grandmom said: be mindful where you impart your knowledge, because the wise don't need it and the fools don't heed it. And at this point, if people can't see things for what they are, me telling them at this point is not going to do any good. And I'm only putting a bigger target on my back. And it's getting to the point where I don't, it's not that that I'm afraid of talking about it. That's not it at all. It's just at this point, if you can't, seems like the lines are drawn. And if you can't see the truth at this point, there ain't nothing I'm going to say that's going to make you see it.
Yeah. Here, let's go ahead and promote some of the stuff we have for sale. Here, take that real quick.
What, did somebody tell me that?
No, I was gonna bring up those spoon. What? No, I was gonna bring up those spoons. the
Oh,
Comfrey,
okay. I'm like,
the
man, that's a
bone
weird
saws, all
question.
that stuff.
Like, okay, he said promote what we have for sale, folks. I don't do that. I'm not a salesman, but what I will say is we are trying to put ourselves out of business. That's really the goal here, and I know that doesn't sound like a good business plan, but I'm hoping that by we make a living out of altruism and out of just as a byproduct. I mean, honestly, we don't need much at the end of the day. We really don't. We grow our food, and we're doing things right now with Justin, like with that high tunnel down there. It's going to be able to help us do that even better. There's plenty out here on the land to be had. We don't really require much, and we're not asking for much. I mean, the good Lord provides all of our needs. And so, really, if you need anything, and we have it at the website, go get it. If you want to, if there's products that thus far, there's only one product that we endorsed, and that was that EMP shield, which honestly, I can't find anything out there anywhere in the ballpark that will make the guarantees, like $25,000 insurance on the purchase of it. So EMP shield, go check that out. I'm sure we got a link to that in there. But folks, I'm not going to stand here and sell you nothing. I mean, if you need it, we have it. And we're not selling anything that we do not personally use or invent. So up until now, the Comfrey and the bone sauce, which we produce right over that way, is by and large it. So Williams, he's been doing his spoon and stuff and doing his wood carving for a long, long time. And he was thinking he might go ahead and not get rid of some, but go ahead. He's been giving away a lot of it. I think some to Justin.
Yeah, I've got some.
Oh, I don't know if you guys can see
I've got
this.
some pieces that he made that I love.
Well, yeah. So here's these. They're all for sale on the website. Oh, my bad. They're for sale on the website. This is the bowl that's for sale. All these are made out of maple. And then there's just various spoons. You can just check them out on the website. But they're all tool finish. I better explain this because if you go to the website, it's not going to make much sense. But they're all tool finished. So if you use like abrasives or sandpaper, and then you wash it, then it gets all hairy, and then it can introduce bacteria, and then you get sick and stuff like that. But whenever you use a knife finish and then burnish it, it seals the wood in, so it won't allow bacteria to get inside and then, get you sick.
Now, where did you learn that, son? Did you learn that in school?
No. Actually, big shout out to Zed Outdoors. Without his videos on YouTube, he films other spoon carvers and stuff like that. Without his videos on YouTube, I wouldn't really know. I'd still be making pretty kindling at this point.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing, folks. That's what I'm talking about. When you get in here and you put foot to butt and learn this stuff for yourself, at the end of the day, I mean, that's the cool thing about all this is that you can sit here, I can hold your hand, or you could hold mine, and at the end of the day, you're not going to advance anything until you actually like Teddy Roosevelt said, fail while daring greatly. So go out there, do these things, give it a shot, folks. We're not fusing DNA here. This ain't that hard. Make mistakes, do it often, do it as often as you have to. Like Joel Salatin said, and it was one of the biggest. I even told him that one day when I took a class from him years ago, and I told him, I said, you know, the most life-changing thing I ever heard in my life was what I heard him say at the very first Mother Earth News conference back when he was doing those things. And he said, if it's worth doing, then it's worth doing poorly at first. And when he said that, honestly, when he said that, I remember standing in that crowd and I had a eureka moment. Now I kept my clothes on, unlike Archimedes, but yeah, I had a eureka moment. And right there, I looked around left and right in the crowd, and I thought surely everybody else had that same eureka moment as me. I came from an environment that you're taught you got to do it perfect, you got to be the best at everything, you got to do all this, and it made me not even try a lot of things up into my life until that happened. And then from that day on, when I heard that, I was like, I am going to make failing fun, and I did. And so I never, I haven't looked back ever since. So keep that in mind as well.
Also, if you have any nut allergies, do not buy these spoons. They're cured or they're sealed with walnut oil, which is a naturally food-safe polymerizing oil. So it cures for 2 weeks and then it hardens and then it basically becomes part of the wood. But if you have nut allergies, do not buy these spoons.
Well, you could use them as a decorative. A lot of people use these things as a decorative type thing.
Well, these are for function. You're supposed to eat with them. It's okay to eat with them. You're supposed to.
Oh, that's fine. But if you want to, yeah. Well, you might also tell them, hey, if you do have a nut allergy, there's a lot of ladies that collect spoons and whatnot. Yeah, that's a whole movement out there.
And they're beautiful. They're not just a piece of carving. I mean, they're really nice.
Thank you.
I
appreciate that.
I was around, and I'd come down and Will would show me his work, and it's just I've got to watch him go through this, and these things are beautiful.
He saw the beginning.
Yeah.
He saw the pretty kindling.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I got this spoon
When
up.
I saw it was still good, but it's way better. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to use this spoon, and it's like dripping out before I can get the soup to my mouth, y'all. I'm like, where'd the soup go? So he's improved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really beautiful, and
I don't know why, but the comments aren't popping up on this anymore. Oh, you're off the this one's off the Wi-Fi, so I guess we're kind of winging it on the comments.
Are we even live?
Yeah, they can hear us. Your phone's just off the Wi-Fi for some reason.
Okay. Well, a whole lot of weird
here
things
we
have been
go.
happening on YouTube as of late. We got videos going unmonetized. Somebody in there hacking the account, doing this and that. So
for some reason, there were a few videos that were just taken off. Like there's when you upload a video, you have to click the monetization button either on or off. And it's a habit now to click on. And somebody came through and turned them off. I don't know how, but that's just what happened. Yeah. Oh, is that our live stream?
yeah,
Are the comments popping up?
Yeah,
Is the latest one Donna Divine Prepping?
Urban Homestead
Oh.
at 902 is what I've got.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with your phone, Dad.
Well, here, let me see what's up.
You need to use this one?
If you don't mind.
Not a bit, bro.
I appreciate it.
Not a bit.
All right. Vicky Savage said, William, do you ever carve black locust? Yes, and I actually, black locust is actually pretty fun to carve. I can go into detail, but it won't make sense to anybody.
Pretty fun to burn too. It's pretty fun to burn, just like.
Thanks, Dad.
No. It's like, yeah, he woke up. Yeah, Santa didn't take those spoons, Jack. They went. No, it wasn't nothing like that. But no, Justin was talking about how well it worked in the fireplace. I'd never burned. We never really had well, we have wood burning. Fireplaces, but not to keep us warm like we do now. This one we got now, like when you said put that locust in there, doggone it, man, that stuff burns, man.
That locust, it burns hot, and if you notice, it don't leave any ashes hardly. It just kind of all burns away.
It's funny, when I put that locust in there, it was last night. And usually, I kind of know what this oak will do, how much I need to, pile it up in there to get us through the night.
Right.
But man, like you said, I sat there and put that locust in there, and it was there waiting on me the next morning, glowing.
It will. Yeah, it will. You can't beat locust wood.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I try to save my best locust for the coldest times. That's what I usually do. Like
Huh.
later
good
on.
idea.
I like to have locusts all the time, but you get other stuff to burn. And
Well, there's no shortage of that growing around here, but
Yeah, everybody's commenting about the locust. Everybody loves burning locusts.
man, that stuff is. Man, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I'd never burned it to stay warm before, but when he told me, he said, put that stuff in there before going to bed, and I did. And I come out the next day. Now, I think it might have been 10 hours,
yeah,
and that thing's still in there.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
What was it? Glenn wanted to know if the mini pond was sealed by the pigs.
Don't know yet. We ain't had no rain.
Yeah, it hasn't rained well enough. Everybody's yawning except for me.
Yeah.
It hasn't rained well enough for us to find out. We haven't gotten any
No, we
watershed basically. from
No,
it.
not at all. But I mean, I will say they did a good job tamping that thing. I mean, whether or not it's going to work, but for that pond down for Charlotte's pond, I'm going to call it Charlotte's pond.
Charlotte's Pond,
Down for Charlotte's pond.
Lake Charlotte.
Yeah,
Lake Charlotte.
Lake Charlotte down there. She named that pond. She called it the love pond, the heart pond. We were all sitting there looking at it, judging what it looked like, and she, of course, being the sweetie she is, said it looked like a heart. So I call it the love pond. Now we'll call it Charlotte's pond.
Lake Charlotte. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Lake Charlotte.
That
can
was
be
my
the-
offhand comment.
Yeah.
It could be-
Charlotte's Pond.
I don't know. We'll have to. I want to put a sign up there.
Let's see what she names it.
Yeah, maybe we'll just let her. Yeah, that's it. Since it's her pond, we'll just let her name it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we got some bentonite clay for that one. We can't get no pigs. Well, we could, but it's right next to that hugelkultur mound down low. So as far as the one up top, we haven't had no rain to find out just how it's going to go. But the one down below, if I wanted to sit here and jump a bunch of hoops, I could probably put some pigs down there, but that ain't a good managing choice. I can tell you right now. So we got some bentonite clay and see how that's going to work out.
Yeah. And by the way, if anybody wants to like order carved objects, something that isn't provided on the website, message us on Instagram. If you guys have any questions in general, message us on Instagram and we can get something worked out.
Are you doing phone consultations now, or?
Yeah, still doing phone consultations. We're gonna hold off on the in-person consultations. Again, if you want phone consultations, email us or hit us up on Instagram. We're gonna hold off on in-person consultations so we can get some work done here.
Some of that work being the earth ship. You know, we talked about it. We were ready to get off and running. It's just how life goes. I mean, we just got so many things that, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got all these different things you got to get done and things you didn't plan for. Some of you did or maybe didn't plan good enough, and then you get to it. What was that, buddy?
Was Life simpler before I started hanging around here?
No, life got better. Life got better when you started hanging around.
Yeah.
Honestly, brother, it's been a real joy. And I mean, folks, I'm not just saying that. I mean,
Yeah, same here.
it's you know, they come over to eat a couple times a week, and we just hang out and chew the fat. You know, that's after working all day doing this stuff. So it's not. Is there any part of this lifestyle you don't like?
No.
But have you ever had any? You ever say, "Hey, I wonder what it's like to live in the city"?
He drove through it and realized it was wrong.
I worked there once, and that was enough.
He's like,
Well, there's in the permaculture design manual at the last chapter, it talks about like building new communities and stuff like that, and it mentions like living in cities or populations over 30,000. And once you hit a population over 30,000, people start going crazy and people start committing crimes outside of necessity. So under 30,000 and under 3 stories, 3-story dwellings, people commit crimes out of necessity. If you go over 3 stories and over 30,000 people in a population, then people start committing crimes just
for
cause.
enjoyment.
Because they
Wow.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow.
Jimmy, what are you doing this Saturday? You want to go live stream? No, let's go rob a liquor store. Yeah.
Yeah. So try to avoid cities if you can. JD said you have 2 ponds. Did you post a video about the pond up on top? The one up top, I think. Yeah, the one up top,
Both.
Justin dug.
Both, right?
Yeah. The
Well,
one up
Justin dug
top,
both of
Justin
them, yeah.
dug. That was in that permaculture terrace video, because he dug the terrace and the pond at the same time in like 4 hours.
Yeah, and the pond was kind of something I threw out at the last minute, and he said it probably, and he was right. He said it ain't gonna, it probably ain't the best soil in the world to hold no water. But I also wanted to try this thing with the pigs, also to see if they could. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll find out. If it doesn't, then I know what Plan B is gonna be, or Plan D. There's another. If this method doesn't work, I want to find out what does. And then we got other ponds that we want to put, some higher in the landscape for a whole variety of reasons, and some down low. I mean, some all throughout this landscape. You can't have enough water. And we've been in such a dry spell right now where it would be kind of very helpful
Yeah, it
to
would.
be able to have some of that water available.
Yeah. Kathy Dick said Jim's still available to help with the Earth ship. We won't have him pounding tires if he comes out. We don't have to worry about that part. Jodine Cooper said no in-person consultations. I'll say it depends. If you mention this, or if you or message us on Instagram or email us at permapatchersfarm@gmail.com, maybe we can at least talk. We can do phone consultations. I know Homesteading Jen, she mentioned she needed one for the spring. So just message us, reach out to us. We can talk, we can discuss, because chances are you might just need like a phone consultation and we can figure that out. Urban Homesteaders wants to know how the bees are doing.
Doing pretty good. Right now we have the sheep in with the bees. And they're eating everything, pretty much around, all the stuff that was grown up. Now, sometime later in this winter, I think we're going to go ahead and get those bees on a higher platform, get them up off the ground a little bit. Yeah, the bees seem to be doing good, and we got that device down there. I got to look on there and see when we send it back. That we were testing that somehow cancels out some of the negative radio waves and stuff like that.
Noble Brooks, he said,
"Hey, Noble."
Yeah, he said he let his grandson seal his pond with his 4-wheeler.
That's cool.
Yeah, Jodine, just message us on Instagram. We can figure something out, or email us at permapastures.farm@gmail.com. Gil Quambra, put saw or wood dust in the pond to help seal. So that's an option. I've never heard of that before.
Well, I never heard that.
Oh, those bees up in the tree, they're still there.
I noticed
The
that.
bees are
They're
still
tough.
there. Yeah,
They're
they
tough.
are.
You might
I'm
tell 'em-
surprised they didn't freeze out.
Yeah, there's bees that we tried to capture the same swarm, I think 3 times, and they just kept going higher and higher up in this tulip poplar, and that's not really a tree you want to climb or anything. And we thought they'd all die after that first frost, but they seem to. Their hive is out in the open; it's exposed to all the elements, and
You
they're
notice how
surviving.
their combs are all looking empty though?
Yeah,
You know how it was real brown?
Uh-huh.
It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
looking empty
like
and white.
pale.
now.
Yeah,
Man, we were trying to get up there and capture them, but boy, it's just been.
like 40 feet in the air.
Yeah, it's like 40 feet up, I bet. Man, and then try to get up in a tree like that. If we had a snorkel lift, yeah, we can get it done.
But getting that to the location, renting
Yeah.
it's a lot for a single hive of bees when we have
Yeah.
9.
Yeah,
already.
yeah, we got plenty of bees. But man, I even thought about chopping a tree down just to get it. That thing's so big.
Yeah. Prelude Recycled Paradise. New to y'all's channel. Enjoy the vids. Keep them coming. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Kind of at a standstill now. You guys want to go ahead and wrap it up?
Yeah, I guess so.
We're at an hour and 13 minutes at this point.
Okay, well, hey, thank you so much for everybody coming in tonight. As always, it's a real joy. We're going to try to do these things, I think, a little more regular. He's been traveling a lot, whether it's consultations or any number of other things, and I've been all over the place, and Justin has had everything in the kitchen sink coming at him as of late. So we just haven't had time.
Well, I appreciate y'all letting me be part of this.
Where can
Well-
they find you, Justin?
Yeah, tell him.
Metcalf Meals.
You got a website yet? Or
No, not yet.
So it's just the YouTube, or you got
YouTube,
Instagram?
Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebooks.
Yeah, go check out his Facebooks.
They got a couple of them out there.
Go check out his Fun Fact Friday videos. They're pretty cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
check out all his videos. Really, they're really cool. Yeah, check them out. So anyway, y'all, we'll what else we got coming up in the future? The big thing that we're working on right now. I know everybody is probably, if anybody's wondering, I mean, what we're focusing on right now is trying to get up this high tunnel. Justin laid the ground at exactly the way it ought to be. Just had so many different irons in the fire. And honestly, we're going to try to just watch the videos, y'all, because they're kind of like chronicling how and the way and the means in which we're going about doing a lot of this stuff. So, there's so many moving. It's like Danny from Deep South was saying. He has so many construction projects going on at the same time. Well, I can totally relate when that time of year where everybody feels like they're gearing down. Well, in light of all the things going on right now in this world, I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. Do you? I mean, well, everybody's gearing down. I know what's about to befall, or at least I have strong suspicions about the things that may unfold. And so it seems like that, folks, if you have mutual assistance groups or anything like that, you might want to consider checking them out. It's just good practice anyway.
Oh, before we end, there was a question earlier that I forgot about, but they were asking what are some of the Homestead channels we watch. So we can end on that note.
Okay.
Tell
Yeah.
them.
Well, I'll tell you right fast. I watch Perma Pastures Farm. That's on YouTube.
I heard that Billy is a real jerk. He's a real... Do you watch? What else do you watch, Justin? You got some other ones out there?
I watch Renewed Homestead, Ben and Denise sing at Growing Little Country Homestead, Danny and Wanda down at Deep South.
You're listening basically the same ones. Oh, and if you guys want to learn how to like carve and stuff, check out Zed Outdoors. He doesn't necessarily do it himself, but he shows you the masters that are doing it. And he does bushcraft and stuff like that, but my main focus were the carvings.
As far as the channels I
And I
watch.
watch Sean over at the Modern Yeoman.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's some folks on there I watch. I mean, Deep South, if you want to, honestly, for anybody out there that really wants to get, because honestly, I went down there. Michelle thought I was crazy when we first went to Deep South Homestead. I wanted to go there because I didn't think they were real. I was like, there ain't no way, no way. And then when I got there and I come to find out, not only are they doing everything they do, they're doing a lot more that you don't know about. So yeah, Deep South Homestead is hard to beat. You get wonderful life advice. You get good instruction on all things. Yeah, there's so many to list here. I mean, there's so many different channels. A lot of the same ones Justin talked about, but there's also some of these other channels that I watch not necessarily for homesteading. I don't watch TV. I mean, when I'm watching YouTube, I'm usually listening to
Yeah.
YouTube. There's usually, I'm not really watching. I mean, if anything, I got it on there and I'm listening. Oh, Pinball Preparedness. Just discovered
Pinball
that. Pinball Prepper. Just checked him out. I love that guy's stuff. Ben and Denise at Renewed Homestead turned me on to him. I love that it's like in short, savvy, bite-sized pieces, and he gives you kind of a synopsis of the day. I check out True News
Sovereign Village
podcast,
Project.
Sovereign Village Project. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them out there. A lot of them informational. Oh shoot, man, Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. There's so many good ones out there, but there's also a lot of disinformation out there too, or people speaking out of school say, "Hey, this is going to happen on this date," and just about every single time these date setters are wrong. So, anyway, there's also I like Fall of Rome podcast, a lot of historical podcasts that I like. It's not just farming. You want to, at least to me, I think it does me well to be able to research things I love, like certain parts of history, especially Roman history, because there's so many overlaps and overlays with America, or the United States of amnesia, as Gore Vidal once called it. Anyway, folks, I know it's getting kind of long in the tooth. Thank you so much for spending your Friday. You know, I always say, y'all, if you're up at 9 o'clock watching us on a Friday, you might be a homesteader. So,
Thank you, Amelia. I will check it out.
all right. So it sounds like we got some awesome. So we want to thank our friend Justin at Metcalf Mills on behalf of William and my son. And
I am your son.
wait,
dude.
he is not. You know I'm
All
tired.
right,
at
good
this
night,
point.
y'all.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Like, what? You got another one?